Well, here we are again. So this is the world record run. I just was able to get this time last night. What I would like to do today is a little bit different. I'm going to be reviewing this run, and we're going to see what's going to happen. I'm actually going to restream in just a second so I can get the proper title out, but probably not. Doesn't really matter. I usually want to set this up prior. But yeah, so what I'm going to do today, I'm just going to be commentating this run and you know, kind of seeing what went right, what went wrong. Audio's going to be pretty low because I don't want to talk over myself. That'd be annoying. Although I didn't say too much after the beginning. After people left the stream, I didn't say too much after that. So, this run, the 5603, I choked away the 55, and you'll see that a little later in the run. Huh. Shadow Tower and Shadow Tower, they overlap each other almost perfectly. That is kind of amusing. So, yeah, so at the beginning of this video, there are a few kind of just failed runs that didn't do anything worthwhile. I'm going to just let those play out. But essentially, the very beginning of the game is pretty well optimized for as far as I'm concerned, unless there's, you know, major new strats are found. I'm not going to go over all the strategies. There's not too crazy here. You can mostly see what's happening, but there's a couple runs I do right here. I think I get trolled by spiders, and I quit the run early. So I don't get trolled by spiders here, but I do something stupid, I think, and I just quit. I don't know exactly what happens. This is not a good run, though. Whatever happens here is not good. Pretty sure that the real good shit doesn't start for a while. But this was... what I'm looking for at various points, and I don't have split categories for everything, but... you know, main thing, I'm always looking at Necron needs to be dead before 20 minutes, and at this point, he needs to be dead before 19 minutes with my current PB. Necron needs to be dead before 19 minutes, or the run, I mean, what's the point? You gotta have him dead at that point, because there's time to save elsewhere, but Necron is like your big sticking point. Don't get me wrong, there's time to save elsewhere, especially in this particular PB. Oh, I think I get trolled by these spiders right here. I'm like, what? And I did a shit swing, and then I'm just like, man, fuck this run. I think I'm not getting the gloves fast enough. I think I'm going to take more damage. I miss another swing. I think I just quit out here. Yeah. I don't even know why I'm still going at this point, but yeah, it's just dumb. Gotta quit it. Gotta quit this shit run. That's a reset. Several resets here at the beginning. Just letting those play out. But it's actually good to see the resets because I never have reset in something like that before. I mean, that's poorer than I would normally play, but oh yeah, that was the old record. I was like, what? On my new record, I golded that first split. Golded the shit out of it. And I got good RNG on the previous record before, on the 5706. I know it says 5707 there. I retimed it. I was like half a second late on the last split. that I didn't mess with it in live split because editing those XML files is a nightmare, or whatever they call them, LSL, or wait, that's layout, LSS, live splits. And this is ass. Like, what the fuck am I doing here? This is slow as shit. I'm pretty sure this run just ends. I'm on a double spider. I'm just like, fuck this, reset. And then I think I reset one more time because I don't start the timer. I'm going to skip that one. I'm pretty happy about that, man. I also have the world record for any version of the spider. I put in a bid. Oh my god, did I get trolled by the fucking spiders again, dude. I'm like trapped. Dude. Yeah. Dude, what is going on indeed? Playing like ass and getting bad RNG. I'm getting trolled by the spiders over and over. One thing I would like to show off real quick. Yeah, let's pause that for just a second. Let's create a new scene. There's me. Full screen that shit. So, one thing I would like to show off is this bad boy right here that I just got from Beastly Whale, the previous record holder for this game, and you can't really see shit. Let me see if I can get a little light on this situation. Turn that light on. Get my phone light out. I'll see if we can light this bad boy out. I got no light in my room. My room's just not very well lit. And what we're going to be looking at here is a little bit of shadow tower, and that's just blinding, so that's no good. But, yeah, it's a Japanese version of Shadow Tower is what we got going on here. And, my good friend, Beastly Whale, I mean, I would consider him a friend because he helped me a lot get what I need to do. That is a copy of the game that I will eventually, be using on my PS2. Now, the problem with that is that for PS2, you can't run, it's region locked, and this is a Japanese game. I've got a US PS2, so I need a swap magic tool, and I also need a game capture card, and then I'll be able to actually play with the fastest speed and get something that's going to be disgusting. I will consider it a failure if I do not get a 53 or lower, because I know that's possible. I know it's possible to get a 53 now on fast load. It may be possible to actually get significantly lower than that, but I could, if I get perfect RNG, really good execution. A sub 55 is more than possible in this game. A 44 something, more than possible. My sum of best, you can see it over there on the left. My sum of best supposedly for 50-24. Now that's not realistic for a variety of reasons. I've taken several different routes in these splits, so it's unrealistic to be able to get gold in every single one on the same run. Or even close to gold, like for example the Necron split. Some of those splits are with not getting the Young Dragon Gem, which you have to kill like some ungodly number of Night Howlers and the Master Howler to get to drop. Turn it down. But that is not what I'm doing anymore. So it would be very difficult to beat that. Now, granted, the thing about that strategy is it almost never actually gave me better Necron times, because Necron himself, if you don't get... There's several things that happen there if you skip the Young Dragon gem. Most obviously that he's not visible. You can only look at his shadow. This causes several other complications. The most obvious is that the enemies in his room, the Death Serpents, which can one-shot you pretty much. They can't... I mean, maybe if you have your shield up, they don't one-shot you, but they pretty much one-shot you with melee, and they do a significant amount of damage with their projectiles, like 400 maybe, or yeah, something like that. I think like 400 damage with their projectiles. And that's all of this shit is just way fucking harder due to the specific nature of Necron. If you go for Invisible Necron, you don't get very much time to react to what he's doing. So you're strictly at the mercy of the proper time to hit him, unless you're just YOLOing your fucking run, and then you could just easily die. And even if you don't die, if you're pause buffering your damage, like, because the game can't do any damage to you between frames. Now, that was good. This is, as you can imagine, this is the most optimized split that I have, because it's the very first one. So getting a gold by almost 2 seconds on the first split is ridiculous. And that's exactly why I was actually able to break the record. I was just on fire. I don't know what was going on. I've reset the game a million times before I played this one. So even with this bad RNG, I was just fucking on fire. I had one major lapse later in the run, and we'll get to that when we get there. But so far, just absolutely god tier. Like, I've never played this well before. And then the perfect one-shot. Fucking perfect one-shot. And the perfect one-shot. And the perfect potion. I think I miss a few swings, maybe, on the wing sex, which is, And I danced a little bit. There's definitely some time to be saved here. But, man, perfect RNG on the Hanging Dead. I lose frames there because of dumbass Retro Arch. I need to switch it to the raw driver. I believe that will solve that problem. Retro Arch randomly loses track of a controller, and you lose like a frame or two. Not a huge deal, obviously, in a game like this. So, this is all fine. Really good first hit on this guy. I think I miss at some point on someone. Maybe on the secret room spawn, I miss a swing. That's pretty bad. That loses you like right there, like 3 seconds at least. Every missed swing is like 3 seconds when your attack speed is at this level. Just one missed swing, I was a 5603. One missed swing cost me a sub 56. Like, that's what this game is about. You don't fuck around. So somehow, like, that one didn't drop it. You could see that I would have been right behind gold and ahead of my record pace had that guy dropped a bow, but he didn't do it. And so now this guy can never drop a bow, but you have to kill him to chain spawn the next enemy. So I just lose so much time here. Incredible amount of time. You lose like 18 seconds, 20 seconds per, plus time to move over to them. So that's where the 45 comes from. But I was a little bit ahead, and I got better Hanging Dead RNG in this one. So they both died in one hit. And I didn't fuck around on grabbing the potion. I got it just snappy. So I lose 51 seconds on gold and 43 on record pace. That's terrible. And I could have just given up the run right here. Because I was like, man, that sucks. Am I really going to beat my best with a shitty RNG? And if I do, is that going to be good? Because then I'm just going to want to beat that. But then, now it's to the point where if I don't get good RNG, I have serious doubts that I can beat this time because of this execution. There's only one part where my execution really falters. And we're going to get to that later. So right here, a little slow, you know. It's not perfect, but it's pretty fast. And you'll see, I believe I'll save some time on record pace here. But basically, I get a good spawn for this guy. He's not in the hallway. Anytime he's not in the hallway, you're going to save some time, usually. Unless you can get a clean dodge. Clean dodge, very unsafe. You're going to lose 7 minutes of your life a lot of times when you fucking try to clean dodge that dude. Because your run just fucking ends. But look at that. I saved 8 seconds, or 7 seconds, 7.2 seconds. Like, boom, right off the bat. Just right there by that clean one. So I'm like, okay, well, that's pretty good. If I can, let me just like beast this save out and save another few tenths, because I know it wasn't snappy in my record pace. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna button mash the fuck out of this, get a really nice one. Look at that, saved a second on one of the shortest splits in the game, which is crazy. And then, you know, I still need to beast out, like, so much shit before I get to Necron. Like, this shit is optimized. I've played these sections so many times. This is what you want to see. You gotta execute this part really well, and then it gets a little crazy later. Because there's just so much dynamism. Like, if you get certain items, certain later sections will be easier. But it usually is going to take you a little longer when you're getting those items because, you know, either you'll have to kill an extra enemy for them to spawn, like the bow drops, the other drops you can get in there, you can get an amulet, a sword, and a ring, as well as the bow, depending on, you know, from those same enemies. 2 different drops per room, so the ones in the main room can drop the bow and the ring, and the ones in the other room can drop the amulet and the sword. But you never want to go into the other room. If you get perfect RNG, you're going to stay in the main room. The second wing sect is going to have it for you. And I believe the only way to get that perfect one where you don't have to go in... yes, Osric, this is a vodcast. I'm just going over my run and trying to see where I can save the most time. Just you know, taking a look at it, because this is a really good run, and I'm tempted to just go right back into it, play the game some more. But look, I mean, there's a minute right there. You can already see that I could have saved him a whole fucking minute, because these splits are accurate. Now, when we get down a little further, there's some splits that are kind of fucked up. I don't know how exactly they got fucked up, but are you a speedrunner, Osric? I don't even know if I would consider myself a speedrunner, but I've started calling myself that since I really enjoy speedrunning. It's fucking incredible. Insta-follow? Why is that? Yeah. Look at all this time save. Shadow Tower is the shit? Yeah, Shadow Tower is the best game ever made, in my opinion. Yeah, so this is all fine. Look, I still saved more time. Look how much time I saved in, like, super optimized sections on my record. I'm barely losing time on golds, and those golds are nasty. Some of these golds are just untouchable. I'd say sub 55 is pretty realistic, but you need good RNG to do it. I could still beat RNG. I know I have lots of time saved on later splits. I mean, not lots. I didn't know how much I would have. I didn't think I would be able to. With this RNG, I didn't think I would be able to beat the record by as much as I did. And I also fucked up later, and we'll see. On save 2, I think it was on save 2, I fucked up really bad and just, like, wasted time repairing extra items that I didn't need to repair. Lost a bunch of time. So this is all good. I mean, solid execution throughout. This is the proper equip. I mean, I waffled for like 1 second there. Wings Kingsfield? I I'm going to be running one of them. I mean, you know, I'm going to pick one at a time. But, oh, and I did something wrong there. I used a Dorados. And hey, Wally Zord, what's up, man? Kingsfield. See, I'm torn because this record is gonna... It's not optimized, man. I got bad RNG. I want to beat this record. All I have to do is do the same thing I did with better RNG, and I get a fucking minute off this time. And get a sub 56. And if I execute perfectly, I get a sub 55. And a sub 55 would be brutal for somebody else to challenge. I know it's possible. They could beat a sub 55. But it's going to be brutal. You're going to need a lot of grinding to beat a sub 55 in this game. Because of the RNG, because of the execution late, and the pressure gets on at the end of an hour-long run. Where there's no room for error because this is not a game like Mario where you die and you respawn, dude. You only save twice in the game, and those saves are worthless. Like, you're not reloading a fucking save in this game. If you die, you're fucking dead, and there's a lot of things that can kill you. The run is over, you're resetting immediately because there's no restoring. If you die, your fucking run is dead. And if you've ever played this game casually, you know that it's extremely easy to die. And we, in this route, which props to SZSK, who you can YouTube right now and find a ton of insane From Software speedruns. He speedrunned, I think is the proper term. He speedrunned Kingsfield 1, 2, 3. He speedrunned this game. He got 1 hour and 4 minutes and 44 seconds. What's funny is in my original PB, the 117, I died twice and reloaded from a save that I wasn't even supposed to make because I knew that I was going to die. And I just wanted a PB to compare myself against. Because I so rarely get to the end game. Even though the end game is like the easiest part of it. Once you get past Hallow Mage. I mean, really, once you get past Ebony Knight, like, it's pretty smooth sailing. It's all just execution at that point. Because you have Maggie Magus, who is just fucking trivial. There's one more difficult part. So after Maggie Magus, you have to make sure you have enough durability on your shield to run through the area, but it's not difficult. It's just, did you play the rest of the earlier part of the game well enough to have that durability? You know, do you have enough Dorados to repair your bow, enough to do enough damage to Maggie Magus in disguise, blah, blah, blah. So, but yeah, up to Ebony Knight, there are like 5 different things that can just fucking arbitrarily end your run, and you don't really have that much control over them. That guy I just passed, he can actually jump out and just fucking one-shot you when you're walking by him the first time. Just sometimes he just does it. It doesn't matter that you strafe to the side, like, he just hits you. And your run's over. Like, good job, you just wasted like 10 minutes of your life because you got bad RNG. But, you know, if you let that kind of shit get to you too much, you definitely shouldn't speedrun this game. Because there's some bullshit. This is fine. Everything here is well executed. I buy the right items here. I repair the right items. You know, no fuck-ups here. This is all good. Got the magic, got the Dorados. I could have saved like a half a second with bad pointer navigation there. And that was you, Wally. That's why I laughed. Oh yeah, you can't see my thing, nor can you hear my audio too well because it's very low. But I was laughing because you were like Necron with a Twitch emoji, and I was like, yeah, here comes fucking Necron. Fuck this shit. So I repaired the Shadow Tiger, bow, curing, glove. The shield wasn't even damaged, and I was confused by that because normally the shield is damaged there. But because I accidentally used that Dorados after getting the Shadow Tiger, I did not have to repair the shield, which is not worth. Definitely not worth. Also, I just get lost here. This loses me like a solid like 6 to 10 seconds. Like, holy shit. One thing that's interesting about this game is it takes a little bit of time for you to accelerate to your maximum speed. You know, pretty typical of first-person games, even, you know, early ones. So you might think that it's just point A to point B, but it's really, a lot of this game is actually about maintaining your momentum, holding your speed up, not stopping, not going in direct reverse. Now, sometimes you have to, sometimes it's faster to do that, because your turn speed is also very slow, so trying to balance those two things out is really important. Yeah, those guys can one-shot you if they melee you with your shield down. Or, I don't know if they one-shot you from full health, but they've fucked a lot of my runs up. Not from in front, like not when I'm running by them, although that usually happens when they're invisible, but when they're behind you and Necron pushes you back, then you'll see. If you haven't seen Necron before, get ready, because fucking Necron is a piece of shit. So Necron, the developers of this game, From Software, very clever in how to increase the difficulty of battles from Kingsfield. One of the biggest problems with Kingsfield is once you learn how to fight, there is no challenge in combat whatsoever. It's just, you know the range. Now the first game's a little different because the cooldowns on enemy animations are exceptionally small, and they also turn faster than you. So the first game's combat's actually brutal, but it doesn't feel very good. It feels very unfair and just kind of random. Because essentially the enemies can kind of hit you even if you attack at the perfect time. It's just kind of bullshit. I mean, it's not quite that bad. You can actually game it really well, but if you look at the world record time for the original Japanese Kingsfield, he actually gets hit quite a bit. It's the same dude, SZSK, because there's actually not an entry for that game on speedrun.com. I guess because it shares the name with the US Kingsfield 1, which is actually Kingsfield 2 in Japan. So there's just not a speedrun entry. This is the beastest fucking Necron fight. I went apeshit. Look how much damage I'm getting on him without having to wait for bursts. Like, beautiful Necron fight. And I saved time here on my record. Not much. But like 10 seconds? 8 seconds? Like 7.7 seconds. That's crazy that I saved that much time on Necron. But that was a good fight. It's hard to get much better of a Necron fight than that. But if you look, I mean, I've been saving time on every split from my record. Like, my execution is just far superior in this run. I was hoping for, because I used that early Dorados, I was hoping for another spawn here that would drop a Dorados. This guy has a chance to drop one and he didn't. And I was like, ugh, that kind of sucks. That could cost me. Luckily it didn't. And I just hit 20 minutes. 20 minutes is a massive milestone in this game. If you kill Necron after 20 minutes, you have no chance of getting a record anymore. Now, with the new 5603. If you're anywhere even coming up on 20 after when you kill Necron, it's fucking, the run's dead. You ideally want to kill Necron before 19. But I used to not be able to do it. I used to not be able to kill Necron before like 20 minutes. So like just seeing that the 20 go by after Necron's dead is glorious. And yeah, like Beastly Whale's execution on the bridge is actually much better than mine. He like on my my voiceover on the original VOD, I'm talking here about how a massive time save would be like landing those clutch like shots while you're still off in the distance. If you can land those spells blind while you're running up, like that's clearly going to be faster, but the difficulty of that kind of execution when you're already 20 minutes into the run and the slightest misstep and you'll slip off. I'm not going to attempt that kind of strategy at this point. I'm not going to attempt it until somebody else is challenging for this time. But it has to be noted that that's a major point where you can save time. And even in Beastly Whale's run, he runs faster than I do. That would eliminate several problems, because you end up having to wait for RNG there too if you're playing cautiously, because those they shoot poison clouds out, those sloth bugs, and the poison clouds, you can't walk through them for like a solid like 3 seconds or you get poisoned. And this run's pretty taut. We don't get any extra shit. And then I save somehow 21.7 seconds on Apollos, which, what? I fucked up in my record run, because look how much time I saved. I'm being just equally incredulous in the VOD. I was like, what? That doesn't make any fucking sense. Now, as of right now, all of my golds are appropriate. This is actually, these golds are correct. But you see how I'm already a minute behind Fat Mole? Like, that's not right. This split takes like 4 minutes. It's not possible to have done it that fast. So there was like an erroneous split at one point. I don't know what happened. I may have like fat fingered a 2 and then a 1 or something, which would put me at a later split, because like the fact that I'm already behind that, I'm almost positive that that's because, I mean, obviously I was already 2.5 minutes back when I beat Apollos, but it's just not possible to get to Fat Mole that quick. There's no way that I could be losing however much I lose, like a minute and a half here. It's just not possible. It's a bad split. But what I ended up doing is actually, because I'd already tried to fix this, I'd already cleared out the bad split I saw. But it, for whatever reason, like, it didn't quite take, but it sort of did. Because you'll see when I actually touch Fat Mole, and I was like beasting this shit. This is a beast element. Like, okay, so what I just did back there, let me rewind for just a split second. So what I do here in the Burning Cavern, this is one of the more movement heavy sections of the run. Your movement needs to be fucking on point here. So, you know, this is decent movement. There could have probably been some way to reduce lag there. I think those were spawns that lagged me. So there is an amulet in the fire here that is extremely difficult to grab without getting hurt. But I realize you could actually clip the post and grab it through the post. Like your grab range extends through the post. But you still don't want to do that, because you would have to turn all the way to the right, and it's not ideal there. So what you want to do is like angle a little to the right. And then here's another trick. It's very difficult. Ooh, if you strafe just right, cut that corner super tight, you won't take damage. Same there. If you cut inside that fire, on Beastly Whale's previous 58-26, he skirts around the outside of that fire, which is less than ideal. Saves maybe like a second or two, but looks flashy. This is bad. So here's where you can lose time. I still like golded this shit somehow, but here's where you can lose time easily. I lost some time, and then I think this dude spawns too, but he doesn't do much damage to me. He hits me like once or twice. No, he hits me 0 times, which is good. And then look at that, I'm already a minute behind. Like, what? No, that doesn't make sense. That's not possible. Like, you saw that. All the time I lost was fighting that enemy that may not spawn. It's not there every time. That's the only time I lost. And I'm already a minute and a half down. Like, it's just a bad split. But so, important to note that this cuts like a minute and a half off of some of best. Because, yeah, more than that. Look at that. It's still ticking out. It's still going to be ticking out for another like 15 seconds. I gotta touch the mole first. Like, this is crazy. It's almost 2 minutes. of bad split. So that means my sum of best is actually closer to a 52-30. 52-10.
Caught up to my PB.
And I just touched my PB, which is crazy. I was 45 seconds behind early. But consistent execution caught me up to it. And I mean, at this point, it's anybody's game. Once you catch up to your PB, man, you just got to execute. But that's why this run's going to be hard to beat. The execution was fucking on point because it's funny, like, I don't think I would have recorded if I had been ahead of it going up. Like, I had a crazy run going, like, a few runs before this where I was so far ahead of my record. I was so far ahead of my record, and I died on this part. I died on the fucking lava river, which is... So yeah, hey, if you want to speedrun this game, enjoy dying on this part, because it happens a lot, and it's very difficult to get the perfect setup to live through walking over that lava river. But my execution there was absolutely flawless. So what you're supposed to do, the setup, is you actually run onto the lip of the walkway, and it bumps you up a little. And being bumped up just a little bit like that makes a huge difference in when your feet first touch the lava, which makes you take a lot less damage. Because the way going up and down in this game is there's actually, like, inertia, I guess. Like, if you're moving in one direction, it takes a second to slow down. So when you, like, where I just popped up that ridge, you'll actually kind of see it here. So I'll be, like, thudding all the way down. When you go down a slope, you're just like boom, 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 boom. Because you don't just, like, lock to the ground, you kind of bounce. And that, you can actually use that. So when you go over to the lip on the right, as you touch it, your character model pops up. Or, you know, your camera, whatever you want to call it, pops up a little bit. As it's popping up, you can't fucking start going down yet until the pop-up is finished. And you can pop up at the very end of it. So if even just going up on it is enough to usually save you, but if you pop up near the end of it, you can't start falling until the up animation is finished. So you save, like, God, I don't know, like, quite a bit of frames of being in the lava, and every frame you're in the lava does massive damage to you. Because I lived there with 560 something health, which is insane. Normally, if I live there, it's with like 200. And most of the time I die. This is really good execution. Normally I'm super nervous at this point, but I knew once I got past the lava river that I was pretty much in the clear. Almost fucked that up. So on my record pace, I actually turned to the right there because this part's really confusing, and I have a bad habit of, like, turning the wrong way there because I get discombobulated slightly. I fucked this up so bad. It's like, what? What? I've never walked over this thing and not been able to grab it. Like, I take damage, I lost like 5 seconds. What the fuck? It was just total garbage. And I knew that I was right on pace with my PB, so I was like, what the fuck, dude? That was a throw, like such a throw. I'm like, whatever, dude, now I gotta beast this dude. All these things add up. It was the fact that I knew I was behind, and I was like, nah, dude, fuck this. This is a good run, even though I got bad RNG, like, I'm killing this shit. It just increased my determination to just nail everything that I needed to nail to catch up to this fucking time. And the execution here is not perfect. Like, you can see already I missed the axe swing that shouldn't have even been an axe swing because the Shadow Tiger shits on this dude. He's also extremely difficult to damage with your weapon until he goes into stun phase, because he attacks very quickly and he can do like a 360 swing where he turns around on you.
Like he says, though, it is a far way to
But look at that shit, dude. I saved 49 seconds on Ebony. And I didn't gold. I was 10 seconds short of a gold. That's nuts. And the only reason I was that short of a gold is because I missed some swings, and I spent like 5 seconds getting hit by fireballs and not picking up a mana potion. So I unequipped the Shadow Tiger because it's blinding me. It blinds you. It makes you have like the smallest vision cone. And it's time to go to Maggie Magus. So Maggie Magus is extremely easy. You just stand in the back and shoot him with the bow. That part's not hard at all. What's hard, there's only one hard thing, and it's RNG, of course. So what you're going to do is you're going to walk through a room that has little, they look like flying fish, but they're like literally flying. And they paralyze you. They cast paralysis. And to top it off, not only do they cast paralysis, but there are also acid, like geysers, I guess, that just spray acid out and just disintegrate your equipment. Almost went the wrong way there. Lost about 2 seconds, maybe. I don't know. 1.5, something like that. Nothing too crazy. Nothing more than like a missed swing on an enemy. So here we go. This warp, put on the curing, make sure you have the shield of resist because it has high purity. The purity stat increases your resistance to status effects, negative status effects. This is a good menu. This is a solid menu. I'm equipping all the right shit. Bow is equipped. Shield is equipped. But then I wait. I just sit there trying to make sure that I don't fuck it up because I knew I was going to get this loading screen. And if you get that loading screen, it's anytime you change an item that has a 3D model, you're going to get that loading screen, and it's going to mean like you really don't want to go back into that menu again. You've already lost time. I mean, not necessarily lose time. You want to optimize your menus though, obviously. So there you go. I didn't die. I didn't get paralyzed. I didn't lose all my equipment getting stuck in an acid geyser. But I have to walk back through that area one more time. So I'm not out of the woods yet. Big thing with this guy, this Lapras type monster has, I believe, exactly 4,000 health. So if you're doing less than 1,000, it takes 5 hits to kill that guy. You know, just a few seconds, but it can matter. Now, I don't miss any shots on this guy, but I do something really dumb and lose some time here, which you'll see in just a second. So if you look on the screen right now, there's a 233 down there and then a 245. That's, you know, what is it? 12 and 4 damage, 16 damage less than I should be doing. Which I was like, 16 damage, that doesn't matter. Well, it turns out it does fucking matter because I killed him. It took an extra shot. And since I'm counting shots and I didn't notice that I did less damage, I fucking don't kill him on the right shot. And I start doing my other speed shit where I run in after I believe that he's going to die. But he's not dead. I get hit by this too, which that did like 590 damage. It was ridiculous. And then I get hit again. And he had another one on the way that could have just instantly killed me. But yeah, there's only one other shot, and since I'd already moved in, it wasn't a huge deal. But that lost time. Look at that.
It's not too bad.
Look at that. 22 seconds lost off my PB right there. My PB had a gold on that, which you can actually see. 22 minutes that I lost. It's actually the same 22 minutes between my Ebony Knight gold, or 22 seconds rather, between my Ebony Knight gold and my Maggie Magus gold. My delta for this run. Lost exactly as much as I had golded that shit.
Dude, this is kind of risky.
So that I take a huge risk here and I don't heal as I come in here. And then I miss the No, I get it. I get it. I didn't heal, though, which saved a menu. Huge risk. Not really necessary. But I'm feeling like, fuck, dude, I just lost 22 more seconds for no reason. I need to save more time. I'm constantly feeling like I need to save more time, and that's why this is a good run. It's interesting. Being behind for most of the run, it upped the urgency. It made me really be like, yeah, alright, let's fucking go. I need the Shadow Tiger, dude. What are you doing? Put the Shadow Tiger on. Judgment's already equipped, dude. You already did that. Oh, but Caustic's not. Yep. Oh, well, I'm forgetting things in my review. So there you go. The menus at this point in the game are pretty tricky because they vary based on what you've picked up in the game and what may have broken, and so you have to really think on the fly in the late game menus. Really, especially near the end when you have to do repairs. Holy fuck, dude. You've got to do a lot. It's just a lot of like mental juggling. The guy right there who curses you when you enter his field, he has a very small chance to not curse you. It doesn't actually matter because potions are pretty moot at this point in the run. Like I have like what, I had 5 more potions after the one I just took. Unless you get trolled by the warpores here, which are these little kind of flying crustaceans you're going to see in the next area. So here's a little time save. It's nothing crazy, but you can fire this way ahead of time because the corrosive elements travels a very long distance. It also fucking does a shitload of damage. I get a nice magic crit on this guy, and he go down real quick. Saved a lot of time on him. And, importantly, he gives me his fucking ring. Now, granted, I don't know if that's the important one or not. I think that might be the Ring of Frost, which is not very good. But there's another ring that this lady drops, which is the Poison Ring. And the Poison Ring does more damage to the second phase of Balron than any other spell that I've seen. Other than Bubble, which you never want to use because Bubble, you have to be like standing right next to an enemy to do it. But I haven't tested every spell in the game though. What just did 2,000 damage to me there? Like, can we just rewind for just a second? Because like, I don't understand what did 1,000 damage to me. Like, I don't know. Like, what did I miss? My HP's falling, blah, blah, blah. Fighting the lady, blah, blah, blah. There's a million warpores. I just lost 1,000 HP. Like, what just... She hit me with something. And I lost 1,000 HP. I don't get it. Damn, dude. I have 7 more right now. And she's, like, refusing to die. I'm standing in a... There it goes again. It must be her. She has something that does 1,000 HP. She has some ability that does 1,000 HP. Which is absolutely brutal. Luckily, it's not a one-shot. So I fumble around for the Deadly Gauntlets. That cost a few seconds. My fight with her was not totally optimal, but it was pretty good, and I didn't waste time in menus in this split, so I'm not doing too bad. So I have 2 more bosses. This is a sub-boss and then a boss before I can split this. And I've got about 2 minutes to do it. Now this guy is actually one of the hardest bosses to beat quickly. Luckily his HP at this point in the game is nothing crazy. But he teleports around. And you don't want to tank all his damage even though you end up doing it a lot because his shots do like acid damage, so they do extra damage to your equipment. Very important that you don't have the bow equipped as your main item there, because if you do, it will actually damage your bow. when he hits you with that shit. There's a thing to note about reserve items in this game. Reserve items do not get damaged when you go through, let's say, an acid pool, or you do the acid drop, or you get hit by an acid attack. I missed this. That's like 2 seconds, whatever. So many like individual moments that could have gotten me a sub 56 that I didn't land. Not to mention 45 seconds of RNG. But as you can see, even subtracting the, whatever, 1 minute and 50 seconds from the Fat Mole split, if you subtract that, like, it's still 3 minutes behind gold here. I critted her, which was pretty big, but I missed 2 shots, so, not the best. Lost 7.4 more seconds off of my record pace. Which, again, if you look, it's a gold. That was a gold. Both my Maggie and my Disguise were golds on the previous one. So it's not super surprising that I lost time there. However, my save number 2 was very slow on record pace. It was very slow. Because I somehow saved a lot of time on it. Also, I think I make a huge mistake up here. I think I make a massive mistake where I try to, like, walk out before I'm ready. But I'm not sure if I did it in this run or not. Because I think I say, like, alright, well, I just lost everything. I lost all my time. I pissed it all away. Let's see what I say. You gotta be creative here. Like, here's where you actually have to think in a menu. And you might even have to do some fucking math, because you're like, can I... But I couldn't repair my ring. But I realized you don't actually need to. Because you're just fighting Hollow. But then, I realized that I fucking forget to save. I forgot to save the game. Good shit. And I say I threw away everything. Good shit. Fuck, dude. And I'm like looking at the screen. I'm not even looking at the splits. Save here. If you don't save here, you use forever in a day. And I saved time. That's... How did I save time? What? Yeah, how did I save time? What? Exactly. My shit, I used like 2 potions and went back in there twice. Like, healing shit I didn't even need that would be odd. Okay, so here's an interesting mechanic in the game. So, there's an item called Dorado's Ashes that repairs all the items you're currently wearing. Now, this does apply to reserve items. That does apply to reserve items. And yeah, Wally, that was 2 loads, and like, I don't know, like, fuck, dude. 10 seconds of walking, a load is like, dude, I don't even know. Loads are long. That was like 20 seconds, maybe more, at least 25. 25 seconds right there for forgetting to save. It would have been the sub 56 right there, but again, there's like 10 times in the run where a single action would have gotten me sub 56, so. Bad RNG, but for the most part, excellent execution. And to just make like one blunder like that is actually really good in a long run like this in such a confusing game. But, I mean, it's right there on the split that I need to save. I was just like, oh man, I can save a ton of time if I just don't go back in there. I don't need to. This was ballsy. I was like, alright, well, I don't need a menu to potion. I'll just fucking beast this shit. And if you notice, I have the shield already held up. That's because there's some really dumb shit that can happen here. You can actually get hit before you can control your character. Because as you load in, the cutscene like begins when you load in, but the enemies are already moving, and they can shoot before the cutscene starts. But you can't move. So you get fucked by that shit sometimes. So I had the shield already up, in case. I missed my split on yet. Yeah, totally missed that split. Also, here's another little fuck up. I released this shot before he actually has a hurt box, or a hit box rather. Like if you watch this, it does no damage to him. This shot that I'm about to fire, that I preloaded, I didn't realize. Look, did no damage. Did no damage. That's a waste of a bow shot. Every bow shot is like 3 seconds. Right there. That preloading the bow shot and letting it go and doing no damage is literally the difference between a sub 56. But that's why I'm watching this, because I want to know all the little fuck-ups. What exactly did I do? Because this is an intimidating run for me to try and match. Because, like, I will feel bad, like, if I get, a good bow and I'm still losing time on somehow this great execution I was doing. And then of course, I start fucking it up at the end. Everyone, I mean, you're going to get nervous. You're going to fuck it up. You want to give yourself some time. Because the very end of a run, especially with a long game like this, you're going to get nervous. You're going to feel the pressure a little bit. That's just human nature. You're going to fuck something up. You want to give yourself enough time to fuck up a few times. But yeah, no, Wally, I was saying it earlier, I don't think you were here yet, but a sub 55 is not even that crazy. A sub 54, like, if I was really going for it, I would feel like I shouldn't be satisfied unless I get a really low 55 or a sub 55. Or, I'm sorry, a really low 40, or, what am I saying? A sub 54, so something that's 53XX is possible with my level of skill. But I need good luck and I need perfect execution. Or perfect luck and good execution, whatever. The 50-24, that's task type shit, and I can't do that because there's some of these splits were taken for other runs. And I saved 4 seconds on Hallow Mage with a bad Hallow Mage. Sub 55, dude, you could literally see the sub 55 in this run. Like, you could totally see it. I could have had a sub 55, like, straight up. I lost 45 seconds on a bad RNG. Like, right there. So what does that put me at? If it was a 53.06, then it's 45 seconds. Or it was a 56.03, I'm sorry. And 45 seconds puts you down at, like, 55.18? Right there. 55.18. Right there. Just with good RNG. And everything else identical. So yeah, sub 55. Sub 55, whatever. Sub 54, now that's challenging. And sub 53, yeah, you just have to have God at RNG and perfect execution. But I don't even know what the perfect RNG would look like, because, like, you need certain drops to do certain things, and I haven't even figured out, like, optimal spells to use on everyone if you get these other drops that are low odds. Like, I need to, like, figure out exactly what can be done depending on what drops you get. I need to also make a list of all menus that you ever do. Yeah, my Apollos and my Ebony Knight were silly good. And then if you recall, I golded the first split of the game, like, and I did it in an insane way. It was like 1.7 seconds. Now, the final boss I did extremely well on. I don't miss a lot. I get plenty of lucky crits and shit. But yeah, like, okay, so the thing about this game is because there's crits and shit and like lots of drop RNG, like, dude, sub 50 is totally possible. If you, like, imagine if you critted every time. Like, it's totally possible. Like, the variance in this game is going to be massive because there's so much RNG on these bosses. Like, if you get crits and you execute perfectly, yeah, I think sub 50 is possible on a task type shit. If you can manipulate the RNG, then totally. But it's not realistic. It's not something a human could get without a change in the strategy. I think a human could get, yeah, a human could get a 52 something, but good God, you wouldn't want to. You have to play a lot of runs. But yeah, sub 54. Now a sub, or I'm sorry, yeah, sub 54, like a 53 something. That's gonna be where the buck stops, I think, for people, if anyone even cares about this game. But oh my God, sub 55 should be a goal for me because I can totally do that. 54 something. If I get a 54 something, it's gonna be a god run. But I'm intimidated by this run. Like, I know it's gonna feel bad to run against this run, and I'm gonna just reset a lot. It's intimidating. But the silver lining there is that the RNG was bad, and then I had some dumb blunders late. Clearly could save time on Maggie and Disguise. I've done it before. And then clearly could save time on save number 2. However, with the poison ring here, like, I don't know how much time I can save here. Although I get confused here again. I get confused. I was like, what did I actually do this for? Like, what was my point in going to this menu? It was to use a magic potion. And I just stop and, like, think about this. Yeah, 50, a sub 55? A sub 55 would be a serious accomplishment. Now that's a kind. If I get a sub 55, I would not expect anyone to touch that for a little while. They would need a little bit of grinding to get anywhere near it. But I mean, that's the thing. No one's running this game right now, so I'm not being pushed to the absolute limit yet. The only way I can push anything is by competing against myself. But, you know, I don't know. People don't seem to like this game. People don't seem to want to run this game. It's like a great fucking game to run, though. Like, I don't know. I guess people don't like RNG. RNG is fun, though. RNG is exciting. Like, especially because the major RNG of this game comes at the very beginning. Like, 10 minutes in, you pretty much know how good your RNG was. And then it's all up to crits and other shit. But, you know, it's a crazy dynamic game. Like, you can mitigate a lot of that shit with just skill. It's all about, like, figuring out what to do with what you get. Because, yeah, I mean, you can get different drops, whatever. We have guaranteed, everything you need is guaranteed in the run. And I golded him. Look at that shit. What was that? 35 second? 35 second gold. A 35 second gold. Wait, I don't know. It's not a 35 second gold. It's a 37 second time save on my record. And I mean, now the run's over. I just have to do the last part. And I do lose a little bit of time on the last part, but it doesn't really matter. It's only because I had the bow in my record run at a much higher durability rate, and the bow does more damage than the sword. Now, I don't know exactly how that works. That part, okay, so one of the things about this game is the last boss arena right here is infinite. It doesn't end in either direction. Yeah, the poison ring is a rare drop from one of those illusionist bosses in the illusion world. And I don't know exactly what the odds are, but it's not every time. And if you don't get it, you don't. Nothing else that I've seen that's that easy to use can do that much damage to him. But yeah, the poison ring like does 200 damage a pop to his second form, which is disgusting. So when you see how far behind, I'm already behind my gold for this split. I think that's because you can optimize where you are in relation to him, depending on which side you're on of the enemy. So essentially, going back to what I was saying before, the void, when you walk in, it seems like you came in that mouth door that eats you. But what actually happens is you just get teleported into the middle of a room. There's no door behind you if you turn around. It just extends infinitely in both directions. However, the game makes it a real sort of real room after you defeat Balron before you kill Edward. And I think where you are, if you're on one side of Balron or the other, it can make your walk to Edward take longer. Because here's one thing about the game that probably drove some people crazy, and it should definitely drive speedrunners crazy if they try to take up this game en masse. Which is if you go the wrong way at the end, you can walk infinitely and he'll never be there. You just never see him. And I believe you have to go all the way back. However far you walk, you have to walk that far back. It just goes on. But Edward spawns in a specific spot, that's related to where you are when you kill Balron. So if you kill Balron and, Balron's here, you're here, Edward's here, then as soon as you kill Balron, you can turn around and talk to Edward. But if you kill Balron and you're on this side, you have to walk all this, however much the distance between Balron and Edward is, before you actually cross the next gap. So I think that's why, because if you look, I lost 24 seconds on my gold there. And I'm like, wait, what did I do that lost 24 seconds? That's a lot of seconds. I even lost 9 seconds on my record. But I just kept saving time. Everything from the bow all the way up to ebony, I saved time on every split. Then I lost time on 2 splits, and then I saved time all the way up till Edward. And I think I know why I lost time on Edward. So, that was the 5603. And I did retime it. You could see it was a 4.17, but it ended up being a 5603.65. Is the frame data, if you will. If there is anything that makes me kind of feel bad that there's not more music in the game, it's how fucking good this credits music is. The credits music is amazing in this game. And the way it ends too, it's very fitting. One of the big complaints about this game was that it just kind of ends, and then you see a random cutscene, and it doesn't make any sense, and then it's like, all right, do you want to save your game? And you load the game, and it's literally just right where you were, but the final boss is dead. And everything else is exactly the same. There's no new game plus. It's literally just, all right, well, you can keep walking around and, whatever. Do whatever else you want to do. So that's the 5603, guys. Pretty happy with that time. But, obviously, lots of room for improvement. Amazingly large amounts of time saved there. And I just don't know if I'm ready to tackle it yet. I don't know if I'm ready to actually put in the time to improve this, because I would not want to keep going if I get bad bow RNG now, which means I'm going to reset a lot. There's going to be a lot of resetting. But, that being said, there's always this. There's always this bad boy. This bad boy remains. The Shadow Tower Japanese version, you know? Shadow Tower. That's upside down. That's right side up. And you can't see it because of my screen. And you can kind of see it there. I just have very bad lighting in my room. I'm sorry. But Beastly Whale, previous world record holder for this game, he sent me the Japanese version, which has the control scheme that I prefer. Because when they changed cross and circle, when they swapped them in the English release in the American market, North America, they fucked up the controls. You can fix it, sort of, by swapping confirm and menu, because they were kind enough to give you an option in the game to switch. However, your confirm and cancel buttons in the menus cannot be changed. Which means I won't be able to run it without completely retraining all my muscle memory. And that's unfortunate, because this is not going to be easy to run. This is not going to be easy to run because I don't have a Japanese PlayStation. I don't have a Japanese PS2. I don't have a Japanese backward compatible PS3 for that matter. So what I would need to do to run this, capture card obviously. My PS2 has component out. However, component and PS1 backwards compatibility is a little iffy. I don't know how that works with capture cards. It's going to be unfortunate if I buy a capture card. The Apollo split will probably be a run killer split. I mean, the run killer split's going to be the bow though, because like even if I did it, like I don't know, the bow is going to be, because I'm not going to want to run against this run otherwise. I won't save time until save 2, where I miss the save. That's where I'll save time. I mean, I could save time on some other splits, yes, but I would clearly save time on a little bit on Maggie, a little bit on Disguise, and a little bit on Save 2 in a perfect world. I'll save time on all 3 of those. And Save 2 should probably be like 30 seconds. So, I don't know. I don't feel like it's a total run killer, the Apollo split, because I feel like I can actually kill Apollos that fast. Part of it is your sloth bug RNG. So, they can spawn anywhere between 2 and 4 sloth bugs for you. There's 2 fixed spawns, the ones they're kind of in the back, and then there are 2 random spawns. There's one that's on the lower level, and there's another that can drop the crown up on the upper level right before you go in to fight Apollos. The wizard crown is another thing. So if you get both the poison ring and the wizard crown, you're doing ridiculous amounts of damage at the end of the game. Not to mention, the other thing I didn't get in this run, although it probably doesn't save time, just depends, is the Endless Amulet. The Endless Amulet boosts your attack and your magic. So, Endless Amulet could potentially save time. However, it's dropped by the Hallow Mage, and the Hallow Mage, as soon as you kill him, you want to use a feather. You don't want to walk up to his corpse and pick up the shit. And you can't really get that close to him because he's the fucking spammer. He fucking just blows himself up over and over again and never lets you get close to him. You can only kill him with ranged weapons. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Run's definitely beatable, no question. I didn't think the time could go this low, because when I watched Beastly's original record, the 58:26, right here, I actually did, I put these on side by side one time. That could be a cool video if I put these runs side by side, because you can see, I'll just show you a little sample. Like, there's just a lot of little shit that doesn't work the same way. Okay, here's a good example. So he's about to, wait, fuck, a little further back. So he's about to equip his, he's about to take his potion, his vaccine. Look at that. I can't fucking move the menus that fast. It's not possible. Like, the menus load so much faster in the Vita version. And the game doesn't run any faster. If you put them side by side and you had them start at the exact same spot, they're like in fucking sync. Like, it's actually, the games run the same speed, but the loading just makes a massive difference in this game. But yeah, I mean, I think late last night I actually put the runs up, or maybe it was before this. Maybe it was when I had my 5707 or 5706 that I put them up side by side. But the loading is just disgusting. There's so much better loading. So when I'm running this bad boy on the PS2, I should have much reduced loading times, because it's basically the same as the Vita. Although the Vita arguably is even faster, because it's not even loading from a disc. It's loading from a compressed file. But I don't have a Vita. I don't have a PS TV. But, like, this Necron fight is not great. Like, where is it? Where's Necron? Like, my Necron shits on his Necron here. Like, this just ain't good enough, dude. Look, he's only doing 316 damage because he let equipment get damaged that does extra damage. So he's not doing as much damage to him. He's getting sort of bad RNG too, but, like, he's not hitting him enough. And it's just not good enough of a Necron fight in this run for it to be really competitive. And then I save a lot of time on other bosses. I had to save so much time all over the place to keep up with this run, because all of my early time saves get wiped out, like, by this fucking loading. Because I rerouted the whole game. Not the whole game, but I rerouted a significant part of the early part, because there was just some really non-optimal decisions made. Oh, what am I doing? I'm not even showing it. And this doesn't work anymore. Whatever. It's not important. It's just the other run. The run that I had to beat. But he has fast loads. And I still beat him. Like, that's a fucking accomplishment. And when I get to run fast loads, when I get to run this puppy right here, we're going to see what happens. But I know, I don't even know what kind of time I can get. But if this is any indication, if Beastly Whale's run is any indication of what might be possible, I don't know. I don't know what's possible. I mean, I know I could get like the same shit I could get here. I get a sub 55, but dude, could you get a sub 50 on a fast load? Can you save 3 minutes in loading? I honestly don't know. I don't know how much load time there is in the game. There's a lot. Not to mention the menus. God, the menus. Every menu, like, there's loading with every fucking thing. If you turn my videos up loud enough to hear my button presses, you'll hear the delay between every press and every movement. It's actually insane. It's just slow. All the menus in this game are slow. It's like they're loading some shit from the disc or something, and it's just slow. But all of that's mitigated. All of that disc access is faster in the Vita and the PS2 FDS. So that's my next goal, and I still haven't determined if I want to run more of this game before I switch over to that, because I do need to buy some equipment. I need to buy a Swap Magic, and I need to buy a capture card. And I also need to figure out what capture card is going to work for the PS2 component out with a PS1 game. And I don't know what that is. I don't know capture cards too well. So if you guys have any ideas about what kind of capture card would work for a very specific setup with a PS2 with component out playing a PS1 game, because I don't know if you guys know, PS1 did not support component out. It didn't have the port, or it didn't have the cables weren't sold, and it doesn't support it. The motherboard does not support outputting to that for the PlayStation 1. The PS2 does, and the PS2 has backward compatibility. But it all depends on whether the TV can actually accept that stream through component. Some TVs can, some TVs can't. What that means for a capture card, I don't know. I would assume it means your capture card has to be capable of supporting the same, like, non-standard resolution of the component of a PS1 game. The problem is, I don't know if anyone knows anything about that. Like, I don't know where if I could even find that kind of information to know if a capture card before I buy it is going to work for a PS1 game played on a PS2 through component video. Now, I have the composite cables as well. I'd really rather not use the composite cables, if at all possible, because it's going to look a lot worse. I don't know what Beastly captured this on, but it looks decent. It's a little dark, but it looks good. It's totally legible. But I think he played it on a Vita TV, which probably has HDMI out, so it's trivial. He didn't have to do anything. He just plugged HDMI out into a Avermedia or a fucking Elgato or something. But I want one that will actually support the PS1 video over component, which is not a normal thing. I think PS1 is 480i. Let me actually look that up real quick. Or is it 240? Various resolution modes. It can do 640 by 480 interlaced. It can also do 240p, and it can do some it can do like doubled height. Wait, no, doubled width. It can't be doubled width. Anyway, well, I don't have too much more to put about this. I might stream some more later tonight. I might run the game a little bit today. I really wanted to look closely at the run and get a good sense of what might be improvable. Clearly, I need to not botch my menus and miss the save, and then get good RNG. That alone. If I just, those two things, don't botch the save, get good RNG on the bow. Those two things should give me a sub 56. If not, a sub 55. If I were to get a sub 55, I don't know if I want to keep playing on this version. I want to go to a different version where I could potentially get a different time. Like, a sub 55 is unbelievable. Like, my first run was a 117. To get a sub 55 would be absolutely mind-blowing. Absolutely insane. And it would not be easy to beat, because at that point, you don't get your bow, you're fucking resetting. Like, I already feel like if I don't get the bow, I should reset, because I don't want another PB with the bad RNG. Because I know that anyone who could just execute to my level, which is not the highest level, you know, like, I know there's people who can execute better, but they don't put in the time to get those runs. No one's putting in the time on this game to get the runs that I've gotten, because this game is just time consuming. It's a grind. There's a lot of RNG, there's a lot of luck, and a lot of difficult execution at the end of an hour-long run. Those are the kind of things that make people, well, antsy. And there's no room for error in this run. You fucking get hit, you die. Or you break equipment that you can't repair because you don't have enough health. You just, margin for error in this run is very small, especially in the first half. And that margin for error actually makes you play a little too cautiously in the late game, usually, because you don't get all your runs late. So when you get one late, you're like, I don't want to fuck this up. I don't want to fuck this up. Which inevitably means you're going to fuck it up. So I don't know. I'm going to cut this stream off for now, but thanks for watching, everyone, and I may come back with a stream later tonight and try and get a couple runs in. I don't know yet. It's already 9:44, so if I do that, would be within the next hour or so. I don't know if I'm going to yet or not, but yeah. So thanks for watching. And I'll probably put this up on YouTube so people can watch the run with commentary, especially if I don't improve on it at all. Like, it'll be a nice little thing for the next person. They'll be able to see, what's going on in the run, what you might want to keep an eye out for. Ultimately, I hope Beastly runs the game some more. I feel bad taking his record, because it's such a great game, and it's such a nice, nice thing to have a world record. It feels good. It was important to me, and now that I have it, I feel like it's not important enough. Like, I need it to be a good time in a world record, because I know this is an okay time. I mean, it took me a lot of grinding, and I beat a record that was done with fast loads, but it could be a lot better. It could be 2 minutes better. Very realistically, could be 2 minutes better. But, yep, that's that. So, hopefully I'll see you guys later. If not, have a great night.